So
Okay.
you're on with World War II. So
Yeah.
effectively, we've got a block of flats in London pre-war, and a lease is agreed for a certain sum of money.
Okay.
War breaks out, and by 1940, people aren't in London in the same way that they were in before. The actual capacity of this block of flats has dropped. And so the tenant who's taken on this lease is turning around to their landlord and saying, well, I can't afford to pay the rent that we agreed. We had this rather interesting conversation between the two directors of this company, and a letter gets sent from the landlord to the tenant recording that which they discussed, which is effectively, we'll take half rent. Now, there's no...
Good deal for the tenant. I guess the landlord keeps his money coming in.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that's quite
This
interesting.
is in 1940, right?
Yeah, so this is in the 40s. I think it's a really interesting point you say. That shows a sort of commercial element of, we're dealing with these legal issues, but fundamentally, your clients, my clients, they want to know about the commercial world as well, don't they? And it shows that these legal principles can very easily come about. I mean, how many people in COVID were taking rent reductions?
Yeah, I mean, there was an expectation. I mean, certainly. A lot of the landlords that we acted for, they were quite agreeable to that, provided, and we're probably going to get into what happened here, provided that it would bounce back when, the economy reopened. I think if you were a landlord of a load of pubs, for example, and the pubs couldn't open, I mean, very harsh to be trying to collect your commercial rent during that period.
That was one of the areas that wasn't quite touched on here that potentially gave rise to some of these issues, is it wasn't actually distilled for how long this rent reduction would be in place.
Okay.
Yeah.